Myself, Achyut S. Sergal, Assistant Professor in the Department of Electronic and Communication here. So today I'm going to take the topic called as memory here, which is related to embedded system here. So in this particular topic here, uh, let us try to understand the memory topic here with uh, these things here. That is, you can see in the slide here, what is exactly the memory here, or you can say it's a very important part of any kind of a processor you consider, or any kind of a controller you consider here. Uh, uh, Based embedded system here, right? So usually, whatever the processor you consider or controller you consider, usually there will be a built-in memory will be there here. So usually the built-in memory is referred as on-chip memory here. And if at all we try to attach certain external memory to that particular processor or controller here, then we call it as an off-chip memory here. Okay. So we are having around two kinds of memory here. One is ROM and another one is RAM here. Okay. So usually this ROM is nothing but here read-only memory here, or you can say program storage memory here, right? Program storage memory here, usually program memory or code storage memory it is called as. Okay, so usually this particular program memory or code storage memory usually stores the program instructions here. So this again being classified into different types here. Again, that is you can see here. MROM is there here. Masked ROM it is called as. PROM is nothing but a programmable read-only memory here. RAM is nothing but a one-time programmable here. And this is EPROM here. EPROM is nothing but a erasable programmable read-only memory here. And this EEPROM is nothing but electrically erasable programmable read-only memory here. Last one is a flash. So these are the five types of ROM we are having here. Nothing but a program storage memory here, read-only memory you can consider. So this we are going to study it in detail in the next coming slides here. And the next one is you can consider random access memory or read-write memory here. Both is possible here. Writing to this particular memory is also there, and we can also read from this particular memory here. Nothing but here we can store the data and access the data here, right? Okay. So that's how there are again three types of memories are there here. That is, one is SRAM, that is nothing but their static random access memory here. Second one is dynamic random access memory. Third one is NV. NV is nothing but here non-volatile random access memory here. These are all the DMAs here. Nothing but here direct access memory here. Sorry, DAM. That is direct access memory here. These are all the volatile memories here. That is nothing but I think it is quite easier to understand regarding the volatile memory here. Whenever the power is turned off here, all the contents are destroyed here, right? That is volatile memory here. So further, we will discuss in detail regarding one by one these memory storages here, right? So next we will move on to the next slide here. Uh, Here we'll try to understand regarding the masked ROM here. Okay, so this is nothing but here it is a device here. Okay, it's a memory device here, which is one-time programmable here, right? Only one time you can program this particular masked ROM here. Usually, hardwired technology is used here for storing the data here. Okay, so then the device is the factory manufactured here. Okay, or you can say factory programmed. You cannot program this particular memory here. It has to be done at the factory level here. Okay, and based on the requirement of the end user here, this particular masked ROM will be programmed here, that too at the factory itself only. Okay, so one of the advantage what we are going to get in this particular masked ROM is it is having a low cost here. and high volume production can be there here. Okay, and one of the best device that is being utilized for any kind of an embedded firmware here, especially when the application requirement is of low cost devices here, that is low cost devices connected with the embedded here, right? So there is one limitations we are having here, that is, I think, as the first statement itself says, is one time programmable. That means we are not able to modify here. Okay, once we have written, it is done here. Okay, so that's why there is a limitation in ability to modify here. Okay, we cannot change the code that has been written here, or we cannot change the firmware that we have already factory programmed this particular firmware here, right? So cannot be upgraded here. That is one thing here. And remember, it is one of the what you consider permanent bit storage here. Okay, M ROM is permanent in bit storage. Okay, this much we can understand from the point of a masked ROM here. Let us move on to the next memory device here. Okay, that is PROM here. PROM or OTP you can consider here. PROM is nothing but here programmable read-only memory here. Okay, based on the what you can say that end user here, uh, this particular read-only memory can be programmed here. Again, here it is end user programming here. Okay, so if at all, how exactly the data will be stored here? That's again the point here. In the previous case, it is a hardwired technology here for storing the data. That is masked ROM here. Here in this case, what we do here is we selectively burn the fuses here according to the bit pattern to be stored here. Okay, so if at all the fuses which are burned here, that is represents the logic 0 here. If at all the fuses are not burned here, then we can consider the logic 1 here. Okay, so this is how the data could be written in terms of ones and zeros here. Machine can understand only one and zeros here. So whatever might be the program in whichever language you have written here, if at all you have written in the C language or if you have written in the assembly language here, it has to be connected to the machine code here. How exactly the machine could understand in terms of zeros and ones here. So what you have to do here, you have to write the program in terms of zeros and ones here. So that's how selectively burning the fuses here. If you burn, it is logic 0. If you don't burn, it is represents a logic 1 here, right? So it is one of the most widely used in commercial production here. Okay, if at all we wanted to have low cost solutions here, right? Okay, and again, one more disadvantage is there. That is, as usual, OTP, one time programmable. It cannot be reprogrammed here like we have for the masked ROM. Yes, once it is done, cannot be reprogrammed here, right? So this is how we can learn from this PROM and OTP here. Next, we'll try to understand another device here, that is EPROM. EPROM is nothing but here erasable, programmable, read-only memory here. Okay, so the one best thing that what you can say that the best part here is that you can erase whatever that has been written. Okay, then again you can write the program here. That's the best part here. So what happens here is usually whenever there is a development phase is there here, what happens here is that the code is subjected to change here, right? So continuously there is change in the development phase here. So using this OTP kind of a methodology, that is one-time programmable methodology, it is a bit difficult. Like each time you have to use a new device itself fully for programming here. So it is not the economically the benefitable here. So that's why this comes into picture. That is erasable, programmable, read-only memory comes into picture here, which is having the flexibility of reprogramming here. You can reprogram the same chip here instead of using so many chips here for one OTP here, right? One time programmable. We can use uh, many chips here for that OTP here. So now with the same chip only we can reprogram that particular chip itself only here, right? Can change the code here. So how exactly the information has been stored here? In the initial case here, that is hardwired technology was there. In the second case, we tried to burn something. I mean, burn the fuses here. Burn fuses, logic 0. Don't burn, it represents the 1 here. Now, how exactly the information is stored in this case here? Erasable programmable read-only memory. So in this case, it is just by charging and discharging here. If you charge the floating gate of an FET here, that is field effect transistor, it is utilized here, right? If at all you charge here, it is considered as a 1. If it is discharging, it is considered as a 0 here, right? So in this way, charging, the information will be stored. If you don't charge, then, or you can say discharging, that information will be lost here. I can consider charging 1, discharging 0 here, right? So one, how exactly the uh, it will be erased here. Information will be erased here. That is nothing but here you can utilize the quartz crystal here. It contains the quartz crystal window here, which is responsible for erasing whatever the stored information is there. That is one thing is there. Another one is we can expose this particular window to the UV rays here for a fixed duration of a time here. Okay, you should mention the particular time here, if at all, and the entire memory will be erased here. Okay, so it is, but one thing we can consider is disadvantages. It is a tedious one here. Okay, it is it takes time. Okay, and it is a time consuming process here. So there is an advantage that we can reprogram. There is a disadvantage, that is it is a tedious and time consuming process here. So every advantage has some disadvantage will be there with every advantage here, right? Okay, so this is what is I can say here. Flexibility to reprogram will be there for the same chip. Stores the bit information by charging. Okay, how exactly the erasing is happening using the quartz crystal window, exposing the window to the UV rays for fixed duration. You can erase the entire memory here. It is a tedious and time-consuming process here. Okay, so this is how I can explain regarding the erasable programmable read-only memory here. The next we'll move on to this another memory device, that is electrically erasable programmable read-only memory, and also we'll discuss regarding the flash. Both memories we'll discuss within this particular slide here. So I think electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. The statement itself says that information contained in the whatever this electrically erasable programmable read-only memory is there can be altered by how electrical signals here. Okay, and it can be erased and also reprogrammed here. Okay, what the data inside the particular chip can be erased in very what you can say, in a few milliseconds you can erase the data here. It gives a very greater flexibility while designing the systems here. Okay, so the only limitation that we are having in electrically erasable programmable reader memory is that the memory is limited here, or you can say the memory capacity is limited here when compared with the read-only memory here, right? So this is what is regarding the electrically erasable programmable read-only memory here. Now, there are 4 points are there here. That's what you can mention. Altered by electrical signals, erased and reprogram, and very limited capacity is there here. Okay, it can be erased within a few milliseconds here. Okay, it gives a greater flexibility to for the system design here. What about the flash here? Right, flash is nothing but here again. This is one of the latest one here, and the most popular ROM technology. Okay, read-only memory technology here. One thing we can say is it has a capacity to reprogram, and also there is a high capacity here. Electrically erasable programmable read-only memory was limited with the capacity here. Now this particular flash is having that high capacity here. Okay, right. So it is a combination of both here, reprogrammability and high capacity here. Okay, for the standard ROMs you can consider here. Okay, then whatever the information is there here, it is stored in an array here. Okay, using again the charging and discharging the method here. That is MOSFET transistors are utilized in this case here. Okay, so how exactly it has been organized in terms of pages, it has been there, or can say sectors will be there here. So erasing will be done in terms of sector level or page level here. Okay, erasing cannot be done like whole thing here. Okay, right, whole memory cannot be erased here. Only sector level or page level can be done here. Okay, it is erasing can be very fast here. Okay, in order of what you can say, a few cycles only, the sector level or page level memory will be erased here. Okay, this is how I can explain regarding the total what you can say that RAM chips here. Now let us understand the next one is RAM here, read only, sorry, random access memory here. So this will understand with the help of first one, that is SRAM here. SRAM is nothing but here static RAM you can consider. Okay, static RAM, how exactly this particular static RAM is going to store the information or the data here in terms of voltages here. It is going to store the information or data in terms of voltages here. It is one of the fastest RAM available right now. I think you are very well aware of the what you can say that external hard disk or hard disk you consider, or RAM you consider here. Like whenever you try to buy a mobile here, we try to mention how much RAM is there, right? So we are having processor is having a 4 GB RAM, 64 GB external RAM, like this. No, the 4 GB, that's what the static memory here, and whatever the 64 GB is, that is nothing but your DRAM here. Next we're going to learn that one here. Okay, so this SRAM is nothing but it consists of one cell of SRAM is nothing but here you are having the 4 transistors plus 2 transistors here. 4 transistors are responsible for storing the information here. For storing the information, 2 transistors are responsible for the access transistors, they are called as here. And they are very simple in implementation here. So totally what you can consider is 6 transistors are responsible to store 1 bit of information here. Remember, I'll repeat the statement here. If at all you wanted to store 1 bit of information, that is either a 0 or 1 here, so you need a 6 transistor here, 4 transistor for storage of data, 2 transistors are required for access control here. Okay, these 4 transistors will act as a flip-flop here. Okay, and now you can see in this case, in this particular slide here, there we are having 2 inverters are connected back to back here, or you can say 2 cross-coupled inverters here. Okay, with the read and the write control here through the transistors here. That is nothing but these are the access transistors here. These two are. Okay. Now let us get into the next slide here, where we can briefly look into the diagram of SRAM. This is what is SRAM. One cell here. This is how it has been organized. 6 transistors are Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. These 4 transistors are responsible for storing 1 bit of information here. Q5 and Q6 are responsible for access transistor here, or you can say controlling the access here. Okay, right? So now how exactly the data will be stored here? For writing one, if at all you wanted to write one here, what you have to do here is the bit line. This is bit line B here, and this is bit bar here. Okay, so if at all you wanted to write one, or you can say you wanted to store in Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 transistor one here, what you have to do is your bit line B should be is equal to 1, and B bar should be is equal to 0, and this word line, whatever it is there, it should be activated here. Then what is going to happen here is writing one will be done in this 4 transistors here. If at all you wanted to write a 0 here, what you have to do is B is equal to 0, B bar is equal to 1, and again the word line should be activated here. Then only what is going to happen, 0 will be written to in this particular 4 transistor or 2 cross coupled inverters here. Okay, right. This is how we can write the data or read the data from this particular memory cell here. Remember here, it is a volatile memory here. Data is lost here whenever the power is being removed. Okay, and it is one of the simple data access model here. It doesn't require any kind of a refresh circuit here, which is required in the DRAM cell here. Okay, and performance and reliability is very good here. Power consumption is also very low here when it is ideal. Okay, major limitation regarding this particular SRAM is that it is having the low capacity, and one more is high cost. It is there, right? High cost and sorry, yeah, high cost and a low capacity memory here, right? Let's move on to the next one here, that is the DRAM here. So this is how the DRAM is there here. In this DRAM here, it is a dynamic random access memory here. How exactly the voltage will be stored is, in the previous case it was how exactly data will be stored here. In the previous case, the data was stored in the form of voltages here. Now here it is discharge in the charge here, right? Okay, data in the form of a charge here. How it is made up of one transistor and one capacitor here. Okay, there is one transistor you can see here. Okay, that has been connected to the bit line here, and one is connected to the word line here. Another part has been connected to the capacitor here. Okay, so this is how DRAM has been arranged here. This is one DRAM cell here. Okay, one DRAM cell consists of one transistor and one capacitor here, which is of low cost here and high density. That is, the capacity is more here. Here the refresh circuit is required here. Okay, so the transistor acts as an here the transistor is going to act as a gate here. Okay, there is nothing but MOSFET here. Okay, for incoming and outgoing data here, whereas the capacitor acts as a, what you can say, bit storage unit here. This is where our storage happens here. Okay, right. This transistor will act as a gate for incoming and outgoing data here. Capacitor will act as a bit storage unit here. Okay. Now, what is the difference between these two DRAM and SRAM cell here? SRAM is nothing but here it is made up of 6 transistors here. Okay, and here it is made up of one transistor, one capacitor here. There is no refreshing circuit is required in the SRAM here, but here there is a refreshing circuit is required. And the SRAM is very low capacity here. High cost it is there. That's why more expensive you can consider. Faster in operation you can consider. The same thing is not applicable to the DRAM. DRAM is having a very high capacity. More memory is there here. Less expensive it is there. Low cost it is there, and very slow in operation here. Okay, so SRAM is nothing but you can consider the random access memory itself only. RAM we say, no. Okay, 4 GB RAM, like this we say. And DRAM is nothing but our hard disk here. Hard disk which having a more capacity but less expensive one here. Cache memory is made up of SRAM here. Hard disk is made up of DRAM here. Okay, remember cache memory is SRAM here. That's why cache memory is very costly here and faster in operation here. Okay, but having the low capacity here. But DRAM is having the high capacity, less expensive, and very slow in operation here. Okay, that is hard disk you can consider an as example. Now another one we wanted to discuss is very short, is that NVRAM you can consider. It's just right here, NVRAM. NVRAM, okay, that is non-volatile random access memory here. This is another memory here. That is non-volatile RAM is this there. This particular random access memory is having a battery backup here. Static RAM only you can take into consideration here. This static RAM will be provided with a certain minute battery here for providing the supply to the memory in the absence of external power supply here. Okay, so the memory and the battery are packed together in a single package here. Okay, so lifespan of a NVRAM is expected to be around 10 years here. Right. This is how the short introduction regarding the NVRAM here. Non-volatile is nothing but here we need to volatile is nothing but here we need to give certain power backup, then only the data will be retained here, right? For non-volatile here. That's what we are trying to have static RAM plus a battery here for providing the supply, so that it would act as a non-volatile RAM here. Okay, our data could be stored even if the power is removed here, right? This is how we can explain regarding the NVRAM here. There is last concept relating to the memory, that is memory shadowing here. This particular topic comes into picture here. This this usually related to what you can say that uh, where this is one of the technique that has been adopted to increase the execution speed here. Remember, I'm making a statement here. Just remember, this particular is nothing but technique is nothing but here. We are trying to improve the speed of execution here. Okay, speed of execution here concerned with the memory here. Okay, or in a simple statement, what you can say that shadowing of memory is a technique here, or memory shadowing is a technique here adapted to solve the execution speed problem, okay, in processor based system here. Okay, so what happens here is that execution of a program or configuration here from ROM is very slow here. Read only memory, it takes around 200 nanoseconds to execute the particular program or to read the configuration settings here. But the same if you do with the help of a RAM here, okay, random access memory, it would take around 70 nanoseconds or less than that, or 50 nanoseconds also it would take to read the same configuration settings or the execution of the program here. That's why this is the technique where we try to increase the speed of the particular program you can consider, or configuration settings you consider here, right? So RAM access is 3 times faster than the ROM access here. Okay, if at all you want to access the data that has been there in the RAM here, it would take around very less time here. Okay, if at all you use the same data in the ROM, it would take a longer time to access the same data. So that's why we are trying to use this memory shadowing here. Okay, ROM usually holds the BIOS here. You know, BIOS is nothing but here a basic input-output system. Configuration settings are there here, which stores the hardware configuration information here, right? So now what we're going to do here is in shadowing of memory or memory shadowing here, we try to utilize the RAM here. Okay, RAM is included behind the logical layer of a BIOS here at its same address as a shadow to the BIOS reading here. Okay, so whenever this is going to happen here, there is nothing but here system boot up is there here. So first thing that is going to happen here is that whenever the boot up is there, boot up is going to be copied, okay, the BIOS to the shadowed RAM here. Okay, the RAM that has been attached behind the logical layer of the BIOS is there. No? There, it will be copied here first case, and the particular RAM will be made write protected here, because RAM you can read and write, both things can happen. No, so write protected means we are not going to write anything into that particular RAM here, because the BIOS has been copied to that RAM here, right? So that is okay. This is how we can first step here. Then second thing is we are going to disable the ROM here from reading here. Okay, okay. Then ROM will be disabled from reading. From the ROM, we are not going to reading anything here. We are going to read from the RAM itself only. Okay, which is write protected here. We are not going to write anything into the RAM. We are not going to read from the ROM. We are going to read from the RAM itself only here. Okay, so this is how we can what I can say that this is how the memory shadowing has been done here. Why? Because to increase the speed of execution of the program or configuration settings here. Okay, so ROM from the ROM, whatever the BIOS was there here, okay, it will be copied to the RAM. Okay, RAM will be made write protected here. There will be no reading from the ROM here. Whatever the reading happens, it will be from the RAM itself only. Okay, so that okay, you can increase the speed of the execution here. This is how the memory shadowing takes place here. Okay, For this is why this has been done is to improve or to have the high system performance here. Okay, it should be accessed from the RAM instead of accessing from the ROM here. Actually, it should be accessed from a RAM instead of accessing from it is actually ROM here. Here it should be written as ROM. Okay, right. This is how we can explain regarding the memory part concerned with the embedded system here. Okay. Uh, if you have any queries, you can just get back to me through WhatsApp here. Okay. Thank you.